watching some news on the Rittenhouse thing, and I'm going to be making two more videos today. I'm feeling a little sick after I went out when the house was being fumigated to smoke outside. I got pretty sick and I even might have gotten an ear infection. That's very unfortunate. So, going to be making one more video about the burrito summon spell finally working. And then I'm going to probably try to make a gameplay of Power and Evolution, or Masters as I like to call it, because that's what its name was. And onto the Kyle Rittenhouse case. The entire court proceeding has been pretty bananas. It has been not very good for the rule of law on either side. Rittenhouse is starting to look like the judge is very much on his side, and the prosecutor is very much overtly hostile to the judge, tries to do things that the judge has denied them the right to do, and this is leading to a case where the judge might actually throw the whole case out, which would be very bad for the US justice system. And the media has been very overtly against Kyle because they're afraid of the BLM movement. This is not something that I'm willing to contest. I can guarantee you, based on having lived through some of these things like the fall of the Soviet Union, that the media is afraid. They're afraid of the fundamentalists, and they're starting to kowtow the line a little bit. Like I said, I'm sick. So the media is showing being afraid of the left. Either that or being bought by the left, but that seems unlikely. It seems more afraid of the left than anything else, and this is not good. The guy is in the media circles talked about doing things like shooting three black guys because people don't reference the case itself. They're on emotion control, while the three guys who attacked him and were shot were all white, actually, and all of them had long criminal records. So it's starting to look like the justice system is forming around Rittenhouse, and the media and the left are attacking them. And the prosecutor has made some weird statements through witnesses, such as one of the witnesses saying that he thought Kyle was a police officer and that's why he attacked him, and things like that. So it is starting to look like the US is dividing more and more into two camps, the law and order and the other side. This is fairly common for imperiums that have been planetary and are overtaken by another. The old hatreds that were only being bought their quietness due to the fact that the government was the top government in the world. Now that they are no longer considering themselves the top people in the world, the old hatreds are starting to resurface again. So we might see more of this. And the US criminal situation is pretty dire. It is pretty bad. The EU isn't much better, and in terms of civil war, we're maybe 10 years behind. That is because I predict a civil war in Europe if the European Council holds to its idea that European Union laws are above national laws. This will have nothing to do with any visible thing like a disagreement on the media or something like that, or the Polacks being Polacks. This will be a fundamental fight for the right of EU to be an alliance of nations versus a superstate. It was not started as a superstate, and many of the politicians, while it was turning into a superstate, laughed at the arguments of the people who were saying it's a superstate. But now that the Lisbon Treaty and several of these other expansionist treaties have been kind of signed and kind of ratified in these discussions with the European Union and Polish government. The European Union is publicly saying that it is superior to national laws. In other words, it is a nation state that has dominance over its members. This is becoming so apparent that I believe we should exit it. It is not designed to be a federal union that is on top of countries and more powerful than countries. It is designed to be semi loose trade alliance, sometimes even a financial alliance. But this kind of superstate EU is not what we signed on for. And we might not be the next to leave, but I do predict a war in Europe if this superstate structure becomes the dominant form in discussions. If the EU side in this Polish debate is being told to shut the fuck up with their superstate idea by the EU members when they discuss with Poland, then we might see a reversal, but I consider it unlikely. So my prediction is that if you were to have to choose between the US and EU, I would still go with the US. In closing, in terms of probability of civil war. So that is about it for the Kyle Rittenhouse and US thing. I predict the US will continue to talk of its civil war, but will be very much a unified nation. They might form a more cohesive undercurrent to the main culture that they have, a political true opposition to both sides. But all in all, the US is still a more preferable long term living partner than the EU. If the EU holds its superstate idea, then I predict we will see a war in the next 20 years. Some country that is core to the EU will try to overturn it, or they will have to explain to their nationalist population that in terms of EU laws, they're no longer citizens of France, that is a member of the EU. They are citizens of EU in its province of France. Explaining that to people is something that will trigger the war. But that is all for this particular update. Thank you.